Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Today I'll be talking about some matchups, some predictions, and what I think's been going on around the NFL. I wanted to start this off talking about Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. Mariota and Winston were highly touted prospects and the number one and number two draft picks selectively in the 2014 NFL draft. They came into the league with a lot of hype around them. They'd both won a Heisman. They were both coming off record seasons in college. And they had both been selected to teams who were ready to build around a new franchise quarterback. Marcus started the year off with an incredible debut performance, one of the best in NFL history. And Jameis continued to perform and show what he could do. After 1 or 2 years, things were looking good, looking hopeful, and then the injury bug hit. Marcus kept going down with injuries, Jameis kept getting hurt, and Jameis couldn't keep himself out of trouble. He was in multiple legal situations, and they really didn't know what they could do. Fast forward to 2019, and Marcus Mariota has been benched for the Tennessee Titans, and Jameis Winston threw 5 interceptions last week. It's sad to say, and it really hurts, but I don't think either of these guys can be good NFL quarterbacks. Both of them are slightly below average. They can't lead their team. Marcus has more promise than Jameis. He can get his team rallied around him, but at the same time, he's a quiet guy, and there's only so much you can do by leading by example. Jameis threw 5 interceptions last week and lost his team the game against the Panthers in England. And it's upsetting to see that too, because the Bucs had such a promising offseason. They brought in Bruce Arians, who's a great coach. He helps with passing a lot. They have weapons in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, including O.J. Howard. They were ready to pass the ball lights out, and they had a consistent running game with Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber. Their defense started the year off incredible. They looked really good, and Jameis couldn't get it done. And that's why Jameis Winston will be either cut or traded. His contract is up at the end of the year, but he will be gone at the end of the season. Marcus has a little bit more hope in him, but from the way I look at it, Marcus is not good for him. This year was his year to prove himself, and this was his year to really step up and show what he could do, and he has not done it. He hasn't gotten injured. He has been running the ball a good bit. His passes have looked pretty good, but he can't get it done in the moments he needs to get it done. He didn't throw an interception until last week, and that was really impressive, but the fact is he's getting sacked a ridiculous amount of time, and I know a lot of that has to do with the O-line, but Marcus Mariota is a top 5 QB in the NFL he holds onto the ball an insane amount of time. You need to let go of the ball within at least 2 seconds. Marcus holds on to it, on average, 2.57 seconds. That is no bueno. And I think that it's sad to see, but a new era has to come for both of those teams. All right, I wanted to segue on to how are the Pats doing? I think we all know that their record is showing that they're the Pats of old, and that they're going to keep grinding it out and win all their games and go to the Super Bowl and win. But I want to look at this. Their schedule may just well be the easiest in NFL history. They have played 4 teams who have a combined record of 3-14. The best team they have played has been the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen, whom they injured in the first quarter with the helmet-to-helmet incident. Josh Allen left with a concussion. That just tells me that if the Patriots went up against a team like the 49ers or maybe even the Texans, they would not do too hot. This production they have can't continue. It is downright incredible what their defense has been doing, but their defense has been doing it against some of the worst teams in the NFL. The quarterbacks they face have been Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. They've also faced Daniel Jones and multiple other quarterbacks who just can't do it like Matt Ryan or Drew Brees or other quarterbacks could do. I don't think they could do any of this against even Teddy Bridgewater right now with the way the Saints are looking. It's really annoying to me, the fact that the Patriots seem to be doing so well when in reality they have always had the easiest division in all of football since I don't even know when. There's never been a time where any of the three teams, the Dolphins, the Bills, or the Giants, have been any good. Sorry, not the Giants. The Dolphins, the Bills, and the So, all right. I wanted to segue right on into another talking point. Minnesota. Minnesota has really picked it up recently. They looked really discombobulated and disoriented coming into the season. They had a couple losses. They looked really dysfunctional on offense. Dalvin Cook was the only player who could get it done productively. And the passing was horrid. Kirk Cousins couldn't do anything, and it was upsetting to see. Stephon Diggs talked some trash. Adam Thielen publicly stated that he thinks that the passing game needs to improve. And when that happens on your team, you're not in a good position. And then, all of a sudden, bam, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs in the past 3 weeks have combined for 550 total yards and 6 touchdowns. And that is insane. The passing they've had has been incredible. Stephon Diggs had a game with 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Thielen still had a touchdown in that game. It's incredible what they've been doing and what they continue to do. And it's kind of a fresh change of pace from what we've seen from the Vikings. Kirk Cousins hasn't been able to do anything since his time there, and I think he might be coming out of his shell. We'll have to see with some new matchups, but that's just my take on that. I wanted to talk about Chris Godwin on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has been dominating in the receiving game. He has 45 receptions, and he still leads the league in yards per touch with 15.4 yards every time he touches the ball. Keenan Allen is next on that list with 13.2. He also leads the league in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns through week 6. It is I just want to go back to what Bruce Arians said at the beginning of the season. Bruce Arians came out and said he thought Chris Godwin could get a total of 100 catches. And I think it is pretty cool that a coach can say something and a wide receiver can produce like that. Another player I wanted to talk about who, not a lot of people talk about special teams, but Saints rookie Deontay Harris leads the league in punt return yards, punt return touchdowns, kick and punt returns, and kick and punt return yards. That is incredible. The way this guy plays is speedy, lightning fast. He can flip on a dime and just head upfield. Watching him play, it's like every punt or kickoff, you're like, oh my God, he can run this back. This could be a touchdown. You don't say that with any other special teamer in the league. It's really, really fun to watch Deontay Harris play. And you can't say that a lot about a special teams player. But that's just me. MVP race. So, in my opinion, the leader in the MVP race right now is Russell Wilson. Christian McCaffrey has been incredible. And yes, he has 923 total yards and 9 touchdowns. And he's averaging 103 rushing yards per game. But Russell Wilson is leading his team to victories. And Christian McCaffrey, I mean, when they played the Buccaneers, he had like 31 total yards on the ground. And he did have 2 touchdowns, but he just punched those in. He got locked down by that Bucs defense, and that's the Buccaneers defense we're talking about. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, has been leading his team to wins. He's been playing really tough matchups, and he's been playing MVP caliber. This is the best Russell Wilson has ever played, and it's really fun to watch. So, I wanted to spin the wheel over to some fantasy football predictions. I have a couple starts, a couple sits, and a couple sleepers. And if you don't know what a sleeper is, that is somebody we can describe as somebody who is being predicted to have a okay game, who will maybe break out and have a great game due to matchup, or maybe because they're being integrated more into the offense. So, one of my starts of the week is Cooper Kupp. He's playing Atlanta, and Jared Goff's going to have a bounce-back game. I mean, Marcus Mariota threw for 350 yards on this Atlanta defense, and Jared Goff can do that, even coming off of this last week he had. A sit I have this week is Terry McLaurin. The matchup isn't in his favor, and the quarterback situation up there is not looking good. I know he's gotten you at least 60 yards every game this season, and he's been really good, and he's going to continue to be good. But right now in this situation, you need to step away from him. A sleeper I have is Frank Gore against this Miami Dolphins defense. Once this Bills team leads up a competent lead, they're going to run Frank Gore. And yes, I know Devin Singletary is back, and I do think he's going to have a great game too. But he's coming off of a hamstring injury. And you don't come back off of a hamstring injury for your first game and run for 20 carries. He's only had 10 touches on the whole season. And Frank Gore has been their workhorse back. And he's going to continue to do that. And he's going to punch in a couple touchdowns. That's almost a guarantee I can give you. A start of the week for me, another start of the week is Leonard Fournette. The matchup is great. He's been producing incredibly. And I'm telling you, he's going to get a touchdown finally this week. I know he hasn't been producing on the touchdown side of things, but he will. I'm telling you. You've got to start Melvin Gordon. You've got to really think about Leonard Fournette. And if you want to sell high on Leonard Fournette, you very well might be able to, because he's been playing really well, but his touchdown production has been really low. But still, start him this week. He's incredible. A sit of the week I have is Melvin Gordon. I know he's been on your bench. He's been sitting out. He finally came back, and you're ready to start him. But he's playing the Titans defense, and that's no bueno. Titans' run defense is one of the best in the league, and Melvin Gordon didn't get it done last week. What expects you to get him done against a better run defense? Austin Eckler's being involved it's almost a 50-50 split from what I've seen on the field. Justin Jackson is pretty healthy coming off of an injury, and Melvin Gordon is not a good play this week. You need to find somebody on either your waivers or your bench that you can put in front of him. I mean, I would honestly, if I had to choose between Sony Michel and Melvin Gordon, I would choose Sony Michel. If I had to choose, if Todd Gurley did sit this next week and I had Malcolm Brown, I would start Malcolm Brown over Melvin Gordon. That's just how it would play out. This Titans defense is scary, and you don't want your fantasy players playing them on the ground. A sleeper I have is Calvin Ridley. The Rams just acquired Jalen Ramsey, a cornerback from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is a great cornerback, but he's going to be on Cooper Kupp. He's going to be on Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley is going to get Aqib Talib. Not the greatest cornerback in the league, I'll tell you that. Calvin Ridley is a really talented wide receiver, and I think he can have a really, really solid week this week. My last 3 starts, sits, and sleepers, I've got start David Johnson for sure. Passing is going to be great. I mean, he gets those passing touchdowns like nobody could believe. Last week, looked incredible. His running has improved, and I haven't seen any injury concerns since that Week 3 kind of scare with his wrist, but he's fine. A sit I have would possibly be Sony Michel. And he's playing the Jets, and the Jets are good. And I don't think Sony has it in him right now, especially with the way they're using him to produce for fantasy. And my last sleeper is if Christian Kirk plays this week, he's coming off of an injury, he's going to be passed to quite a few times. Every game he's played this year, he's had at least 6 receptions. He is a breakout candidate. He's the number 1 receiver on his team, and he has been injured, and people have forgotten about him. But you need to plug him into your starting lineup as soon as you get the news that he is healthy to play. That is going to wrap it up for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and subscribe and follow us on social media. It'll be in the link below. And thank you so much. Goodbye. Have a great day.